Should you get your child a smartphone?
Welcome to Parenting Matters Now, a source of parenting advice a few minutes at a time.
Hi, this is Dr. Roger Smith of Parenting Matters Now. I know you want me to give a resounding no or a comforting of course, but instead I'm going to give you some questions and some ideas about how to answer this question, how to manage it. Begin with thinking about your child as an adult. And whatever age your child is right now that you're trying to make this decision, think first of where you want your child to be as a 20-year-old or 18-year-old. Or pick an age that you would consider an adult and say, okay, what skills do I want them to have? What capacity? How do I want them to be able to function? And of course, the world may be altogether different by the time that they get to that point. But nonetheless, you got to begin with something in mind and begin to think of what do you want them to have as far as their capacity. And so some of that will help you to decide whether you even want to consider technology involvement. But more than likely for your child to be successful in life and to be effective in whatever role, whatever purpose they have, they will need technology skills and capacity. Think of that and then begin to work yourself backwards and say, okay, at what age will they be ready for what things? I will say this, age is a terrible thing to use to decide because every child is different. But we do have some concepts of what they're like as a teenager, what they're like as a preteen, what they're like as an elementary child, and what their skills and their capacity to manage is. And so one of the first questions I would have you consider what stage you're at right now with this child. You're trying to decide, do I allow them to have a device or a smartphone or some type of access to the outside world, whether it's through apps, social media, and the list goes on and on and on. But the question here is this: what does your child need to do? What kinds of things, if you could sit down and make a list of the things that your child needs to do from a functional standpoint, a necessary function, what do they need to do? And then the follow-up question to that is can it be done in some other way than a smartphone? The reason why I ask these questions is because there is a mounting data source that says generally that smartphones and those types of devices, interactive media devices, have a negative effect on children's creativity, their social interaction. There's a whole host of things, addictions. And so it can perform in the brain the same type of action as some drugs. And so this is an important decision. It's not something to just say, well, of course, everybody's got one, everybody's doing it, so to speak. But first, what does your child need to do? And can it be done some other way? So another thing to evaluate in your child is what kind of limits is your child able to self-impose? Because you as the parent are not going to be able to control every decision that the child is making with this device or devices or access to outside influences. And so if your child has very poor self-control, self-limit imposing, you really was need to have some degree of control in that arena, some limit. So let's put it in perspective. We all have some access to technology. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching these videos. So have you ever found yourself frustrated with how you have allotted your time with social media, uh, YouTube videos, any number of things that are out there? Have you been frustrated with yourself and your ability to limit the usage? Just imagine the degree of frustration you've had with yourself and the sense that you've wasted a lot of time doing these things, and you have a maturity level that is higher than your child. And so at some point your child will not be able to control themselves as well as you are, and you're still frustrated. Evaluate where they are in their ability to self-impose limitations. respecting time amounts or respecting the time of day exposure, and also prioritizing as to whether they watch a video or they do their other responsibilities, whether we call them chores or jobs or schoolwork or any number of things. So, can they self impose limits? The other side of this, not just what does your child need to do, but what do you need your child to do? And sometimes the technology, the smartphone, or other devices, you need them for the connectivity to be able to send messages or to have your child pay for things at the store or any number of things. But what do you need your child to do? And who's going to monitor those activities on a smartphone or a device? To a degree, we all need some accountability because it helps us to make decisions that are made in private or in unseen by other eyes. And so we have to have some degree of motivation to do better than we would by nature do. And we call that accountability, and there are a number of software out there that'll do that. There's one that I'm familiar with, well, I can't think of it at the moment, uh, uh, but it's not a parental control type of software, it's monitoring to where someone in your life knows what you're watching, what you're seeing, and what websites you're using, and any number of things. And so that you have a built-in kind of a somebody knows where I'm going and what I'm doing with my time and my device. The final thing that I would have you consider is what parents in your world and in your child's world, what parents will also stand with you in whatever decision you're going to make? As you consider all these questions, you need from the standpoint of the sheer peer pressure, if you're going to make an unpopular decision that you think is the right thing for your child, do you have a support system? Do you have parents who you say, okay, I know everyone else is doing this thing, but we think it's not good. And we think it's not good at this point in time. So let's stand together and we can support one another. And that is something that's very important for you as a parent, is to find a parent support structure, so to speak. You say, okay, our child is not going to be the only one that doesn't get this or does get that. We're going to have some degree of support to where we're going to manage the situation, and our child will not be alone in our decision. So it does help to have some degree of parents standing together. We do have lots of concerns in the medical community about the impact of screens. In fact, the American Association of Pediatrics has a position statement on at what age a child should be exposed to screens. Most families either are unaware or are not compliant with those recommendations. You can find those out for yourself, but I know this, the more your child is outside, the more your child does their own creating in their minds and doesn't have everything presented to them visually, their minds are much more sharp, curious, and inquisitive, creative. And so delaying exposure to screen time is very important. So we all know cases of children who can do nothing without their screen. And you do not want to have your child be the one who's walking around in a daze only looking at their two-dimensional screen. For those who have to have access to computers and connectivity to the internet for schoolwork or other things, there is one resource I want you to be aware of, because it's a computer company that makes computers that do not have a lot of blue light. If your child is very irritable or is having trouble sleeping or any number of things, there is a company called Daylight Computers or daylightcomputer.com, and they have screens that have a warm tone that are designed specifically to limit blue light and its impact on the brain and of the user, whether it's adult or child. And so maybe it's you that has difficulty with sleeping, and maybe you have become blue light sensitive or overstimulated, and you may want to check out daylightcomputer.com to see if that's a device that would be appropriate for you. And it's much like an iPad. And so consider that. So sometimes there are devices that are unique and specific, but there is also that decision of when and how much exposure that you need to give to your child. I just consider decreasing the amount that you are now. So this is Dr. Roger Smith with Parenting Matters Now.
Subscribe to Parenting Matters Now for more advice, or go to rogersmithmd.com to search for more topics. See you next time.